तुझे कोई हाथ नहीं लगा सकता।
इतना बड़ा हो गई हो, अभी तक ब्याह नहीं हुआ। इधर देखो, अरे एक बार देख भी लो, कांप कहाँ रही हो? कोई अभी तक छुआ नहीं खा।
इसने टच किया उसको मदर।
I am a pastry chef and I run a cake shop to make a living. What did you think? Writing stories brings bread to my table?
That's suicide!
So one day, one of my guests gave me a feedback. He said he liked my cakes because they were sweet.
No shit.
The next day onwards, I doubled the quantity of sugar, icing sugar, chocolates, candies, syrups, and everything sweet that went into my cakes. And the result was... That's precisely what happened with Salaar. Each and every aspect from a storytelling or technical standpoint that worked for KGF, Mr. Prashant Neel identified and doubled those down in Salaar, resulting in a film which is bloodier, muddier, darker and louder than KGF, but not better. And I am not just talking about the way the movie looks or sounds. The doubling down runs deeper than that. For instance, there's this brilliant trick used in a story which worked well for KGF. The trick which gave way to that popular goosebumps inducing hammer scene. No, not that one. Not that. Yeah, that one. This trick was used once in KGF, but in Salaar it was used at least thrice. And this trick is called... I don't really know what it's called, but I have a name for it. So the made-up name of this trick is the Cheeto lock trick. Remember that meme? Yeah, I took it from there. So in this Cheeto lock trick, the storyteller uses an obstacle, the strength of which is equivalent to a Cheeto. And this obstacle somehow manages to hold our hero back, who has the force of a battering ram. Because honestly, in Prashant Neel's world, there is nothing other than this Cheeto level obstacle that can hold our hero back from achieving whatever he wants. So in Salaar, this Cheeto level obstacle is the promise our hero made to his mother. The promise that he will keep his violent streak in check. And throughout the first half, different scenarios are constructed to challenge this Cheeto lock. In every second scene, the audience is made to feel that now the lock will break. Deva, played by Prabhas, will now cut loose and rain havoc. But he doesn't. And then the scene changes and again the audience is made to feel that now he will break loose, but he doesn't. And that Cheeto remains intact. And this is repeated again and again and again until I was exhausted by the blaring BGM and multiple flashbacks and scenes displaying Deva's strength. Yeah, I get it alright, but I'm worried, what if he faps with that grip?
Oh dear.
And just before the interval, Shruti Hassan's character, I don't even remember her name, I will just call her Barbie because...
It's fantastic.
So Barbie gets kidnapped and nobody gives a flying fuck about this undeveloped single-tone character who is in the film just for the sake of exposition dump. But Deva's mother gives a shit. So she sets Deva free from their promise to save her, and then Deva makes a dozen men fly and bounce around in a carnival of blood, violence, blaring BGM and violating laws of physics. And then Deva's mom is like, let's just fuck off from here. I'm done with the violence and this girl. Do hell with her. And Deva is like, okay mom. But then Barbie gets kidnapped again.
Barbie, let's go party.
And Deva's mother is like, no. Deva, you go get your guns, knives, bazookas, do your crazy shit and save that girl again. And Deva is like, make up your mind, you old lady. No, he doesn't say that, but he should have. So Deva goes after the girl, he does his crazy shit and saves the girl again, and interval. So the second half is going to be crazy, right? Shit's gonna go down. For the entire first half, I have been waiting for it, but no. The film then puts in new Cheeto locks to stop strong evil characters from doing violent things in an almost lawless world of Khansaar, which runs on the principle, the most powerful rules them all. Actually, this world doesn't run on this principle alone. It also follows some black book with some rules. No, not that black book. And the rules of this book are adhered to religiously by everybody all the time, except when the film decides to not give a fuck about it at all. Like the time when Varda's daddy decides to wipe off an entire tribe overnight, just like that, to sit on Khansaar's throne. Whatever the fuck happened to their book and its laws that night. And later in the film, when all other evil tribesmen had a perfect opportunity to kill Varda, a single man, it was not even like they wanted to wipe off an entire tribe. But somehow this Cheeto law, this constitution, this book, this plot convenience device, its laws suddenly become relevant, resulting in a ceasefire, and all these violent men get civilized and wait for the voting day to decide whether to go or not to go apeshit. I mean, what? This book works exactly like Batman's utility belt. Yeah, you can pull out any random shit of it to make the story work. And then for the next 7, 8 or 9 days, I don't remember how many exactly, Varda roams around in Khansaar getting humiliated by every Tom, Dick and Harry, but nobody kills him because Cheeto lock. Sorry, ceasefire. And then after getting tired of humiliation and feeling threatened all the time, Varda brings in his violent friend Deva, the Salaar, the general, the most violent man to help him out of the situation. But then again, I don't even know why Varda stops Deva from cutting loose. Why? For God's sake, let that kid do what he likes doing. Don't turn him into Ishan Awasthi from Tare Zameen Par.
देवा पेंटिंग करता है?
हाँ, उसको पेंटिंग का बहुत शौक है।
खानसार अब लाल होगा इनके खून से।
मुझे अफसोस है उसने पेंटिंग करना बंद कर दिया।
बाल बाल बच गया रे देवा।
Why did you even bring him in if your plan was to contain him? A Cheeto lock for no reason at all. And then, just like the first half, begins the cycle of scenarios constructed to make the audience feel that probably this is the moment when Deva's gonna go off. But that doesn't happen. And this repeats again and again and again to the point of exhaustion. And then it finally happens. In the Kalima scene, the Cheeto lock finally breaks, again unleashing the carnival of blood, violence, loud BGM and violating laws of physics. And then the film hits the reset button again, and now there are new Cheeto locks. Oof, exhausting. Like, Deva will not go violent unless the judge, jury, executioner, whatever the fuck his name was, touches Varda. Yet again, Deva repeatedly requests not to touch Varda, but the executioner does, and the lock breaks.
काटते हैं उसका गला।
And for some reason, Deva is not punished for what he does in the court of Khansaar. Now mind you, he is surrounded by the most violent and evil men in the country. That too in their own court of justice, and these clowns who call themselves violent every 10 minutes in the film, just let him go. Another Cheeto lock? No, there's no Cheeto anymore, it's just the thin air. Now they are stopping characters from doing their shit for no reason at all. And I liked KGF 1. Yes, I did. A lot, in fact. And my apologies for the review I gave for KGF 2. I was new to YouTube, a bit scared of being hated. What I mean is KGF 2 was underwhelming, but not the first one. And I appreciate the way Cheeto lock was used in the first KGF. It was used once towards the end, leading to that hammer scene. And it was effective. And to be fair, the Cheeto lock here was not even Cheeto lock. The reason why Rocky didn't go apeshit as soon as he entered Narachi and waited for the right moment made sense. His reasons to restrain himself were not as weak as a Cheeto. And mind you, they used this trick just once in KGF. You see, sometimes less is more. But Salaar follows the notion of more is more. Hence, they took even the little things that worked for KGF and tried to shoehorn it in Salaar. For instance, in KGF, Narachi and KGF gold mines are treated like a myth, equating it to El Dorado. There's a logical reason as to why that place is mythical in KGF, because its story is nowhere to be found, all the proofs have been destroyed. But here in Salaar, there was no need for this angle, and yet the two police officers talk as if Khansaar is some mythical place nobody knows about. I mean, it's right there, sharing borders with your country, you dumb fucks. The place is populated with living and breathing human beings. They are in trade with your country, both legally and illegally. How the fuck you know nothing about it? As if it's a Bermuda Triangle or something. Why did you have to give the El Dorado complex to Khansaar? Because it worked for KGF? Poof. Another example. Exposition dump. The most uninteresting, uncreative, shitty way to do exposition is to make one character narrate the story along with all the crucial information to another character. An exposition dump. Like, here's a hero, his friend is Bling, whose father is a jerk and also a king. He has kids with multiple wives, and they are stuck in a war of tribes. He did some bad shit in the past, and its ripple effect is gonna last. The son was disowned but then brought in, but he is stupid and none wants him. There are brothers, stepbrothers, and sisters, stepsisters, rapists, uncles, and crooked ministers. We are overfed with info and none of it matters, and none of it matters because nothing registers. I just kept writing it, and my apologies. Unintentionally, it turned into an exposition rap. Still a more interesting way to pass on information. And coming to KGF, the scenario created in that film justified the way exposition through narration was handled. The only person who knew the entire story was a journalist. He wrote a book, which was banned, and every last copy of it was burnt down. There was gravity to this situation. On the other hand, in Salaar, this entire narration scenario was uninteresting and lackluster, but they just had to shoehorn a build-up through narration. Because, of course, it worked for KGF, so why try something else which can be interesting or at least different? Varanasi, Assam or Khansaar, every fucking place in the film looks the same. At least in the first half of KGF, Mumbai and Bangalore looked different to Narachi, but not here. On top of that, they shove in every kind of architecture in the world in Khansaar, which ideally should have been a place with a distinct identity. But it rather looked like a Frankenstein monster with nothing distinct about it. And it is funny how some of the blind fans are coming forward and defending this film by praising its world building. When did you come out of the rock? A day before this dumb shit was released? In the name of world building, they introduced a book containing undefined, illogical rules and laws used as plot convenience. They introduced a place with no character of its own. They introduced a hero with no weakness, and they introduced obstacles as useless as a Cheeto lock. I mean, fuck off film. And I wanna know why these two bestest of the best friends turn into sworn enemies. Tell me, how did that happen? I wanna know this because you fuckers sold this movie to me on this promise you made in your promotions, and you didn't even touch it in the entire film. Until the very last scene, and I'll get to that. Okay, so you wanted that Bahubali ne Kattappa ko kyun mara cliffhanger ending to your movie, right? Even after watching 175 minutes of this garbage, you still want the audience to wonder as to what exactly must have happened between these two that turned them into enemies? So let me make this clear. Bahubali's story was not built on that cliffhanger question of the first part. Bahubali was not the story of Kattappa and Amrendra. Their dynamics was one of the side stories which was smartly used as a cliffhanger ending. Whereas in Salaar, the relationship between Varda and Deva is the crux of the story. And now, I'm not even interested to know why they turned into enemies. I know Deva is the son of the king who was promised, and he was killed by Varda's father. There lies the conflict and the reason for them to fall out. And the movie reveals this info in the blandest way possible. I mean, the film wanted its climax to be a kind of cliffhanger, but it royally fails at that as well. And is this a new trend or something? Not having an intimidating villain in a film? Out of nowhere, the final boss fight in Salaar was zombies versus heroes. Faceless, nameless, emotionless zombies versus heroes. But to give them credit, our hero was also kind of an emotionless zombie. It was zombie versus zombies. At least both the KGFs had final bosses who were intimidating and developed to some extent, but not in Salaar. In an entire state of Khansaar populated with the most violent men in the world, more violent than Genghis Khan and shit, they couldn't find a single powerful antagonist. This Joker was the final boss. I mean, look at him. Are you kidding me? And it's not like they didn't have an opportunity to show a good fight towards the end, but Prashanth Neel decides to show our hero get a tattoo instead of showing one more carnival of blood, violence, loud BGM and violating laws of physics. And that happens off screen. Honestly, I thought that I dozed off and missed the fight. I mean, what happened to Varda's brother who was about to get executed there? This brother situation was being built up to something. Earlier in the film, Varda asks Deva to protect his brother at all costs. But that setup had no payoff. My bad, maybe the film was trying to subvert my expectation, although in a stupid way. And yes, just like KGF, Salaar also has crazy editing and catchy BGM. By the way, KGF's background score was shamelessly copied from James Cameron's Avatar. But who cares? Because stealing note by note music from another artist is okay, but YouTubers using clips and dialogues from the same film to comment, review, or give opinion while adding entertaining or educational value results in a copyright strike. But anyway, Salaar has the kind of background score that will grow on you over time. Editing, cinematography, and the tone makes it Prashant Neel's film. But for how long or how many films are they gonna hide the bad storytelling with this cosmetic formula? I like KGF, I still do. I liked KGF 2 the first time I watched, but it was strictly an average film. And now Salaar, which felt like watching a mishmash of Prashant Neel's previous movies minus the substance. And it's frustrating how these two directors, having their own unique voices and vision, Prashant Neel and Rajkumar Hirani, released their films on the same day and both the movies turned out to be disappointing. But anyway, that didn't stop fan armies from doing their job. That is, licking whatever shit their overlord produces. And as both the films have made hundreds of crores at the box office, be assured, there's more garbage coming your way. And I will watch all of that garbage and then shit over it again. Yeah, no, I am in a toxic relationship with movies. I guess I cannot help that. But anyways, I am done here. So wipe your ass and fuck off, darlings.